How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, yes, welcome to the series finale of Preparing for the Future. The final episode in this podcast series that I've been doing. It's been pretty fun. It's been pretty. I kind of like the idea of me, creating like this show and topic for me to talk about certain things and let you guys know on some information. It's been really fun. But today is the series finale, where I am going to kind of pretty much go over everything that I've talked about from episode 1 through episode 7 and just kind of give you guys some final words of advice for all those topics. And then if I can try to fit in a story here and there, I shall try. But this is pretty much what it's all about. It's all about just going over everything and giving you guys some last minute tips. So, let's get started. First things first, episode 1. It was my introduction episode. I told you guys who I was, what I was doing for work, and a couple things have changed during that time because of, unfortunately, dealing with COVID-19. I may have talked to you guys about me going back to Disney to work, but unfortunately, because of COVID-19, I am not able to do so. So my recent program was canceled, but that's okay though because I've been given multiple opportunities to try later on. So me getting back there isn't really going to be a problem, but during these unfortunate times, we have to stick together and do what we can. But even so, during my life, I have worked at a golf course here in my hometown, and I have done 2 programs at Walt Disney World, working in the Magic Kingdom, and at ESPN Wide World of Sports, as well as Disney's Blizzard Beach Water Park. That's just kind of a thing about where I've been working and done work at this time. It's been great. It's been a great experience working in these different areas because each one is different, and that's something too. Even if you are in the same place and you go into a different position, you're still going to be learning a lot of new things, and there's a lot of new things that you have to go over with. But you don't have anything to worry about because you'll be guided and shown how to get through the different new parts of your job and to get from point A to point B. And now let's move on to the different categories, different episodes that I've discussed over this series. The first topic that we talked about was the interviewing process and how there are many, many different ways an interview can go down. There could be a phone interview, there could be a face-to-face interview, and there can even be a webcam interview. There are many different ways that can happen. And the best thing that you can do to get ready for an interview is essentially give yourself enough time to get ready for that interview. If you know what questions they're going to ask you, try bringing a friend over and have them asking those questions to you. It could be a great way to know what to expect. And by giving yourself enough time, you wake up and let's say your interview is not till noon, and you wake up at 8 o'clock. You've got plenty of time to get up, get ready, get something to eat, clean up, and get ready to tackle that interview. Now, if you're having a phone interview, then you get a little more leeway. You don't have to dress up. You get to just make sure you're all set and ready for that interview. And that's the best thing you can do, is give yourself enough time to prepare yourself for what is going to come. Now, the next episode, we talked about hygiene. Now, I want to try and think of something clever to talk about for this, but I'll just say this. Wherever you go in your line of work, wherever, you need to make sure that you freshen up, because you're not only presenting yourself to your guests and your coworkers, you're also representing your company, and how you look and how you smell could really affect that. So make sure you're taking showers and you're putting on deodorant, because trust me, it will be good for you. And that's all I can really say on that. I know there's a lot more that I can discuss with that. But yeah. Just make sure you're doing all that stuff, guys. All right? Okay. All right, episode 4. Episode 4 is a big one. Episode 4 we talked about safety. And that is the most important aspect when you're on the job. If you're not taking safety into precaution, then a lot of things can go wrong. Which is why no matter where you work, make sure that you are following what you have been trained to do, and make sure you understand what to do if something happens, because you have to think of safety first. Now, in my line of work at Disney, that's the first thing that we're taught. Safety is important. No matter if it gets, people on a ride as quick as possible. That's not what we're trying to do. We want to make sure that when people get on that ride, that they are safe and nothing is going to go on. If there is something we notice in the stands, that has to be cleaned up before people can go and get to that particular area. And this counts for any job too. You have to think of safety over how quickly you can get things done so you can, get people moving. And that's the biggest thing. Really think about safety. Really think about that first. Don't think about getting people from point A to point B as fast as you can. No. Deal with the situation and make sure it's all safe and okay for people. And I guess I'm kind of looking at my time here. I have time to tell about one story where I thought of safety. Now, I was working at a ticket center down in Disney, and there was a cottonmouth snake in one of the walkways, because there are multiple walkways that people take from the monorail to get to another monorail. And obviously, we can have, the easiest way for people to do this, but this is the wrong way to do it, is have people, make sure they're leaning to one side of the rail, not getting anywhere close to the snake. Yeah, you can get people moving along, but that's not the smartest thing to do. No, you have to take care of the problem and think about the safety of the guests. Because from what I've been told, I think cottonmouths are very deadly snakes, I'm pretty sure. Someone can correct me in the comments below. So what do we as Disney employees do? We block off the area. We tell people to go another direction. And we call animal control. And they are able to come by, take care of the snake, no problems whatsoever. And then we are ready to open up that area and let guests walk through and get to their other monorails. And that's what you really have to think of. Don't think of a way to get out of the situation. You have to think of safety first. All right? And that was safety. And after safety, we talked about your leaders and your bosses. They're in charge. They're the ones that guide you along with your coworkers. And I said this many times in that episode. You want to try and build a relationship with your faculty and bosses, because if you work at a job that you just feel like you feel like it's not going by fast enough, you're not having a good time, by making those connections, you will have a good time at work. No matter what exactly you do, it does get better. And I speak from experience on that because, at Disney, I was basically cleaning up garbage. I was cleaning up garbage, but I talked to my leaders, I talked to my coworkers, and every time that I went into work, I was happy to be there. And I was at the happiest place on earth, so why wouldn't I be? But it's always important to establish those connections, and trust me, it'll thank you in the long run. Now we move on to teamwork. In the last episode, I talked to you guys about how I had to deal with a stressful situation. I had teamwork to help me during that stressful mission with a horse. But to recap on that, as much as you feel like you can tackle a situation or do something on your own, if you know that with the help of your fellow coworkers and with a team, it can get done faster and even better, do that. Because with teamwork, a lot can get accomplished, especially if you have good relationships with your fellow coworkers. And that's the same for bosses. Even if your bosses are around, they can help you too if you establish those connections. And if it wasn't for teamwork, there are a lot of situations that I worked with that I don't know how in the heck I would have gotten through without the help of my fellow coworkers and bosses. And that's why teamwork means a lot to me. All right. Talked about teamwork, and now dealing with stressful situations. Now, guys, again, and I have to reiterate this, these situations are going to be different wherever you work. Even if you're somebody that works at home, maybe your job is working at home. You're going to deal with many different situations that you may not think you know how to tackle. The best thing that you can do is not to panic. You really want to stay calm, assess what's going on, and plan out your strategy. Going in blindly and stressing about it, that's just going to make it worse. I speak from experience about this, guys. If you know that there's something that you can't handle, go ask for help. Because you'll be able to solve that situation very quickly, effectively, and you won't be alone. And there's not really one generic thing that I can say because everywhere is going to be different. But just know that you have to realize what you can and can't do. And now we are on the final minutes of this podcast. Honestly, guys, it's been really, really fun. I like doing stuff like this. I kind of wish that I had almost like I had a studio where I had multiple people talking to, because I feel like this would be more fun to do. But even then, I still had a great time, going back and doing this and giving you guys some information that can help you in your future. And trust me, guys, it may seem scary once you graduate from college and you get out into the working world, but with these tips, it's going to be so easy for you guys that once you actually get into your job and you think about these episodes, you're going to be able to tackle anything. And I really do speak from experience on that. You'll be able to handle any situation if you just follow the tips. And these episodes will be on here for a while, so you guys can always go back. And there are also other people that talk about these things too. It's not just me. You can find many different resources on YouTube, on Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, anything. So if you want to know more about something that I couldn't, really talk about, go look for some other research. They might be able to help you in areas that I probably couldn't. But I'm just speaking to you guys from my overall experience and what I've worked on. And I think I'll end this series with one final story. I'll try to make it a good one. I only got a few minutes left, but I'll try to make it a good one. So I was supposed to work a wedding at the Magic Kingdom, and we had really bad storms. Nothing damaging, just really a big thunderstorm. I'll just leave it at that. Really big thunderstorm. And there were only a few selected employees to work this event. I was one of them. It was like me and maybe 7 or 8 others. And because of how bad the storm was, everyone had to leave. The guests had to leave, but also some of the employees who weren't asked to stay very long, they had to leave too. And when the weather had all cleared, the wedding that we were supposed to deal with at the park was moved elsewhere. But there was still a lot of trash and garbage left all over the areas that we needed to work in. And it was a lot, guys. We had Disney equipment left out in the park. So there was nobody there. It was just Disney employees, so nobody was going to take it. But it was a lot of work that we had to clean up. And we also had to wait basically almost an hour or so to clean it up. But our leader got us together, and we were able to go into this situation. And it was a lot of work, guys. Trust me, it was a lot of garbage. And we were able to get all of it cleaned up within the hour. We didn't get home till very late, but believe me when I say it was a lot. And I felt really accomplished because I was with the team. I was with people that I trusted and leaders that I trusted. And we were able to take care of that situation. And it was a really memorable story, too. There's more details I can go into it, but I am pretty much out of time. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you guys again in another episode or maybe another show down the line. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.